I helped my family save everything, and they made sure I was left with nothing. I was never the favorite child in my family, but it took me years to fully understand what that meant as a man. My younger sister, let's call her Emily, was everything my parents admired. She was confident, expressive, and knew how to command attention. Teachers loved her, relatives praised her endlessly. Even when she failed, my parents framed it as part of her journey. I was the opposite. I was quiet, reserved, and dependable. I followed rules. I handled responsibilities. I stayed out of trouble. That made me useful, not valued. Growing up, I learned that attention in our house was limited. Emily received most of it. If she forgot her homework, my parents blamed the teacher. If I struggled, they told me I needed to work harder. If she cried, the house stopped. If I was upset, I was told to toughen up. As a boy, I learned quickly that being emotional was weakness and being reliable was expected. So I swallowed everything and became the one who never caused problems. As adults, nothing changed. My parents owned a small restaurant that had been in our family for decades. It was their pride, their identity, and the center of every conversation. Emily worked there on and off with vague titles like assistant manager. She came late, left early, and treated the staff like friends rather than co-workers. Still, my parents spoke about her as if she were the future of the business. I worked in finance. I lived alone. I kept my life structured and predictable. That made me the safety net. So when the restaurant started failing, it was me they called. At first they framed it as temporary. They said they just needed advice. Then the truth started coming out in pieces. Rent was overdue. Suppliers were threatening to stop deliveries. Loans were piling up. If the restaurant closed, they said they would lose everything, including the house. I heard fear in my father's voice. I believed them. I started by reviewing their finances. That turned into renegotiating supplier contracts, then managing payroll, then covering shortfalls with my own savings. I told myself it was temporary. That family helps family. My parents promised I would be paid back. My father joked that one day the restaurant would be partly mine. As a son who had never been promised much of anything, that meant more to me than I wanted to admit. I never asked for paperwork. That was my mistake. For over a year, I lived two lives. During the day, I worked my regular job. At night and on weekends, I worked for my parents. I handled staff disputes, dealt with angry vendors, and solved problems before they reached my parents. Emily continued to float in and out, praised for her presence alone. I was exhausted, but I kept going. I told myself that this was what being a good son looked like. Slowly, the restaurant recovered. Customers returned. Reviews improved. Revenue stabilized. My parents stopped panicking. That was when they started treating me differently. They stopped asking for my input. They told me I was micromanaging. When I brought up repayment, they said families should not keep score. Emily began snapping at me in front of staff, accusing me of undermining her authority. I tried to talk to my parents privately. I tried to explain how much I had sacrificed. They brushed it off and told me I was being dramatic. Then one night, everything changed. I stopped by the restaurant late to drop off paperwork and overheard my parents and Emily talking in the kitchen. They were discussing plans to officially transfer ownership of the restaurant to her. My parents said she deserved it for sticking by them during hard times. I stood there in silence. They were talking about the business I had saved. When I confronted them, they acted offended. My mother said I was selfish. My father said the restaurant had always been meant for Emily. My sister told me I should be grateful. I was even allowed to help. That was the moment something inside me finally broke. I went home and sat in the dark, thinking about everything I had given up. The money, the time, the relationships I neglected, the nights I slept for hours just to keep their dream alive. None of it mattered to them, so I stopped helping. I did not announce it. I did not argue. I simply stepped back. I stopped covering costs. I stopped managing finances. I stopped solving problems behind the scenes. At first they did not notice. Then reality hit. Suppliers called again. Bills went unpaid. Employees quit. Emily panicked. She had never actually run the business. She had only been praised for standing in the right place. My parents called constantly. They begged. They yelled. They accused me of betraying the family. Emily showed up at my apartment crying, saying she did not know what to do. For the first time, I said no. I told her the restaurant was hers now. 6 months later, it closed. My parents blamed me. Emily cut contact completely. Family gatherings disappeared overnight, but here is what they never expected. Walking away did not destroy me. It freed me. I rebuilt my savings. I paid off my debts. I slept better. I stopped measuring my worth by how much I could give away. As a man, I had been taught that loyalty meant sacrifice. I learned too late that loyalty without respect is just exploitation. For the first time in my life, I chose myself, and I have never regretted it. Thank you for listening. Check out my channel for more stories like this. Midnight Tea Stories.